I had just finished telling my new friend Sarah about my crazy ex when I heard a knock at the door. My heart skipped a beat. My ex wasn't supposed to be back in town for another week. The knock came again, louder this time, followed by a familiar voice. "Come on, Sarah. Open up. It's me." I froze. That voice. I recognized it all too well. What would happen to me when they found me? My mind screamed at me to run, to hide, but my body just wouldn't move. Heavy drops drummed against the window pane, creating a steady rhythm that filled the room. All the lights were off, even though I knew I'd left them on before I went to bed. Had Sarah managed to escape somehow? Or were they still here? A chill went down my spine as I thought of the latter possibility. Hadn't they come here for me? To hurt me? I dropped the note and turned to leave when I noticed something. The window was open. Outside, the rain had stopped and the clouds had parted, revealing a sliver of moonlight. I hesitated for a moment, torn between my fear of the unknown and the certainty that staying here would be dangerous. I needed to get out, but where would I go? If Sarah was gone, then that meant they hadn't found her yet. But how long would that last? I was all alone. And then I heard a voice. "Leave her alone," it said. The voice was firm, commanding. Standing in the doorway, silhouetted against the faint moonlight, was a man. He was tall, his face obscured by the shadows. "Get off her," he said again, his voice echoing with power. The man holding me hesitated for a moment longer before finally scrambling off. I collapsed onto the ground, my body trembling with fear and exhaustion. I looked up at the man in the doorway, my eyes wide with gratitude. "Thank you," I whispered. "Thank you for saving me." The man holding me paused, his head snapping up. "Who's there?" he barked. I knew I should run, to hide, but my body wouldn't move. I was rooted to the spot, unable to act. The sound of footsteps grew louder, closer. I could hear the leaves crunching underfoot. I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I could trust him, but his eyes held a kindness that I couldn't resist. And so I took his hand and let him pull me to my feet. "Let's get out of here," he said. And as we walked away from the house together, I knew that I had been saved. "Stay away from me," I whispered, my voice shaking. He didn't respond, but his smile only widened. He took another step forward, and I stumbled backward, tripping over my own feet. I landed on the ground with a thud, my hands scraping against the concrete. I cried out in pain, but he didn't seem to care. He loomed over me, his shadow falling across my face like a shroud. "You can't hide from me forever," he whispered. "And now that I found you, you're not going anywhere." I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My throat was dry, my mouth parched. I wanted to run, to hide, but I couldn't move. It was as if fear had paralyzed me. I sat up, my heart still pounding in my chest. Where was Sarah? Had she managed to escape somehow? He was standing in the doorway, his face illuminated by the faint moonlight. I couldn't see his expression, but I could feel the danger emanating from him like a physical force. "Found you," he whispered. His voice was a low growl that sent shivers down my spine. He took a step forward, and I flinched, expecting him to lunge at me. But he just kept walking until he was close enough for me to see the cruel smile on his face. "I've been looking for you," he said. "We need to talk." I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Should I hide? Run? Call out Sarah's name again? I couldn't decide what to do. I struggled against him, but his grip was like iron. "Let me go," I gasped, my voice hoarse with terror. "Please, please let me go." He ignored me, his eyes blazing with a terrifying light. "No one's going to save you, Sarah," he hissed. "You're mine now." A noise continued for a few moments longer, and then there was silence again. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. Maybe it was just the wind. Maybe I was letting my imagination run wild. I needed to get out of there. Or worse, had they already found her? I threw off the covers and got out of bed, my bare feet hitting the cold hardwood floor. I needed to find Sarah to make sure she was okay. But as I moved through the house, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. I felt trapped, frozen in a nightmare from which there was no waking. Then suddenly, just as quickly as they had appeared, the voices faded away, leaving me in silence once more. I wanted to scream, to cry, but I couldn't bring myself to make a sound. When I heard nothing, I slowly opened the door and stepped inside. The room was empty. There was no sign of anyone having been there. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. In the middle of the kitchen counter sat a single glass, half full of water, and a note. I felt a surge of adrenaline as I picked it up. My hands trembled as I unfolded the paper and read the message scrawled across it. "Looking for me, Sarah," it said simply. No signature, no indication of who had left it. Instead, I lay there frozen until exhaustion pulled me into an uneasy sleep. Fear paralyzed me, making it impossible to think clearly or come up with a plan to escape. Time seemed to slow down. Each creak of the floorboard, each rustle of leaves outside the window made me jump. I strained to listen for any sign of movement outside the door. Then I heard voices again. They were back, and they were closer now. I held my breath, hoping against hope that they wouldn't find me. But I knew in my heart that my time was running out. My blood ran cold as I slowly turned my head toward the bedroom door, praying that whatever was behind it would go away before my eyes. But it didn't. And instead of disappearing, the evil grin on his face widened. "Hello, Sarah," he purred, stepping inside. It was then that I realized my nightmare had come true. My ex had returned early, and he brought his friend, the devil incarnate. As I tried to scramble out of bed, hiding under the covers, panic seized me. My ex had warned me not to tell anyone about our one night together, or he'd make sure I regretted it. And now here he was, breaking into Sarah's house and looking for me. Could he have known I was here? If he did, why? Was he really willing to hurt me? My mind raced with questions as I listened to the conversation happening right outside my hiding place. "Are you sure about this, Mike?" Sarah asked nervously. "What if someone else is in there? We don't want any witnesses." Mike laughed, a cruel, harsh sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Don't worry, Chuck. We'll take care of everything. Now let's go have some fun." Before I could react, they were gone, leaving me alone in the dark, with only my thoughts and the pounding of my heart for company. My whole body shook as I waited for them to come back. How long would I have to wait? As they drew nearer, I forced myself to remain still, burying my head deeper under the covers. When I woke up, it was to the sound of rain. As I called out Sarah's name, my voice echoing through the empty rooms, I noticed something strange. Suddenly, I heard a noise in the kitchen, the clink of glass followed by the hiss of pouring liquid. Someone was in there. As I crept closer to the kitchen door, I strained to listen for any sound. I stared at the note, my mind racing. Was this a game? How much longer would it be before they came for me? Again? As I stood there contemplating my options, I heard a noise outside. Someone was in the garden. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw him. I backed away, my eyes wide with terror. I tried to scramble away, but he was on me in an instant, pinning my arms with his knees. As darkness closed in around me, I knew in my heart that he was right. No one was coming to save me. And that's when I saw him. He didn't answer, but instead took a step forward and offered me his hand.